In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front lower control arm on this Dodge Dart. Let's get into it. We're going to remove the wheel. Use a 19mm socket. Take the lug bolts out. Before you take the last one off, I'm just going to hold the wheel from falling. Take that one off. Grab the wheel and slide it off. Underneath, there's screws holding this in. Use a Phillips head screwdriver. You may have 8mm screws holding this in. Just like this one, this is a 8mm socket I'm going to use to take this one out. That's all loose. Back here, I'm using a 10mm socket. Take these bolts out. Should be one there. Use an 8mm socket, take this screw out. And right here. And the same on the other side. And slide this down, and it slides right out. We're going to pull this shield down, use a 10mm socket, take these bolts out. Should be one right there. Right there. Take that off. Slide that down. And we're going to take these bolts out. Use an E18 socket. Take those out. Bracket down. Up front, right underneath the bumper, we're going to take these 3 bolts out. Use a 15mm socket. While you're loosening the last one, make sure you grab the bar so you don't want it to fall. That's out, and just slide this down. Using an E20 socket, take this bolt out. Slide that out. Using a E14 socket, take this bolt out. The other side has a nut on it. Use a 16mm socket, take the nut off. There's the nut. Slide the bolt out. You can use a pry bar and just get in where this crack is, where this groove is, and just kind of separate that a little bit, just loosen up where the ball joint is so you can slide that out. There is special hook tools that you can use around the lower control arm so that you can pry down. If you don't have one of those hook tools, you can just use an exhaust clamp. Just slide that on, put the nuts on. just like that. You can take your pry bar, just pry down, and just pry the ball joint out of the knuckle. You may have to tap it with a hammer. There we go. Pry that out. Slide the knuckle to the side. You can remove the tool. Now we're going to take this bolt out, use a 18mm wrench, put on the nut on top. Using a E18 socket, take this bolt out. Slide that out. Using a pry bar, we're just going to pry this out. And just pop the control arm out. And it slides right out. Take the control arm, slide the back part in first. You can take a rubber mallet and give it a tap in there as well. Get that to line up. Lined up. Just get the bolt holes lined up. You can take a screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver. Just make sure that's good. And using a new bolt, slide that in, get the nut started on top. Line this one up as well. Tap it in place just with a rubber mallet. Again, a new bolt. Get that started. I'm not going to tighten that yet. Take the clamp again. Using the pry bar, just pry this down. Line the ball joint up with the knuckle. Slide it in place. Just be careful. Just give it a little tap. Take this off. Now I'm going to use a pull jack and just slide this up. All right, that's all the way in. Get the bolt, slide that in. Put the nut on. Snug that up. Now we're going to torque that nut and bolt to 45 foot-pounds. Now before we torque this bolt, we want to raise up under the control arm, just using the pull jack. Raise that as close to ride height as possible. It would be ideal to put the vehicle on the ground, torque it on the ground, but you can't always do that. So we're going to do that now. With a new bolt here, you want to torque this to 75 foot-pounds. And then you want to go an additional 135 degrees if you have a torque angle meter. If you don't have one, do the best you can. Now we can lower the pole jack. Now tighten this bolt down. Again, this is a new bolt. Okay, we'll torque this initially to 57 foot-pounds. Then with a torque angle meter, go an additional 75 degrees. If you don't have one, do the best you can. Take this bar, get this lined up, get the bolt started. And before we tighten those down, I want to get these bolts started. Take this plate, get this lined up. This actually goes this way. I'll snug these down. And go ahead and tighten these ones down. And just make sure these are tight. Now we're going to torque these to 70 foot-pounds. Slide this cover in place, take the bolts, get those started. Should be one right there. Oops, not that one. Right there and right there. And tighten those down. Slide this in place. I'm going to slide the top or the front in first. Get that to line up. Take these two back bolts, get those started. these down. Same on the other side. Put these bolts in. Get those all started. And before we tighten those up, get these screws in up front. Tighten them down. Two on the side as well. Now put the wheel on, line it up, take the lug bolts, get those started. Snug those. Now I'm going to torque the lug bolts to 92 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Just go around again, double check.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.